Greetings, I'm Barrett and welcome to Meet Me at the Table. Today we're going to be doing a playthrough of Resident Evil, the board game. We're going to start the campaign. There is a tutorial that you can play in here, but I'm not going to do that. We're going to jump right into the actual campaign of this game. I'm super pumped for this. This Resident Evil has been, I guess you could say, something from my childhood that has been persistent, and it continues on to this day. Not only have I played Resident Evil 1, but of course I played 2, 3, Code Veronica, I played Revelations 1 and 2, and all the fun things that went along with it. I even played the online one that was absolutely pretty terrible. But I've done so many different Resident Evil games. I even played them on all the different systems. Resident Evil 0 that came out for the GameCube. Resident Evil again came out for the GameCube. I played that. There was a director's cut. All these awesome games have come from Resident Evil, and this is where it all begins, inside the mansion. So we're going to dive into this campaign, and we're going to do hopefully a big playthrough of this and a big campaign. I'm excited to dig into it. But before we do, I want to show you exactly how you're going to set this game up, and then we're going to jump into the first scenario. And if you're excited to see if we can, make it through Resident Evil, the board game, and if you're excited to see if we can make it through Resident Evil, the board game, then I need you to meet me at the table. The first thing we have to do is choose our characters. I had our Patreons decide who we're going to play with. We are going to be playing with 2 characters, and this can be played up to 4 players if you wish to, but we're going to play with 2. We're going to play with Jill Valentine is one of our characters, and right here it shows all of our starting equipment. We're going to have a handgun, a knife, and a first aid spray. Also, every character does have a certain set of stats. This first number up here is going to show you how many evasion dice you get to roll when attacked. This is going to show you how many things you can hold, and this shows you how many kerosene tokens you can hold at one time. Kerosene is going to be used for multiple things, such as removing corpses from the board. If you also have a lighter, you can light them on fire, which you did in the video game, which was super cool, and they never came back. Or if you have a flamethrower, I believe you can use that as part of your weapon. We do have our status track here that's going to show us how we're doing as we go through the game damage-wise, and as we go, we're just going to tick these down. Of course, we do have a first aid spray that we can use an action to use that will heal the character or another character in the same or an adjacent square by 3 levels, or resuscitate an unconscious character to caution. And yes, this is I think the only way that I know of that you can bring people back if they have fallen in the game. We also have a knife and a handgun. These are both of our weapons that we get to do. Each weapon is a little bit different. The first one we have is our handgun. It does show you how many bullets you have, and that is signified by our little spinny dial over here. And these dials are actually pretty well built. They spin pretty nicely, and they don't like spin all over the place. They actually hold their shape in place really well. I'm pretty impressed by those. But as you can see here, it shows you what you need in order to hit the enemy and what dice you're going to be rolling. So for example, we'll be rolling 1 blue die whenever we decide to use a handgun, and depending on the different values we see on the die, things are going to happen. If we get this particular value for this particular weapon, we would be pushing it back 1. If we actually show this on here, we'll be able to do 1 damage to whatever enemy we're attacking. This down here is special for the handgun. It is a rapid fire motion, which means we could use up to 3 dice, but of course that will cost ammo. And if you've ever played Resident Evil, I don't know if you were like me, but I hoarded ammo like nobody's business. So using all your ammo might not be the greatest plan, but it also might be pretty good in order to get these people down. Also, you do have a knife. Of course, you can use that as many times as you want, and it does, again, roll the dice to be able to push them back, or you can do a damage to those enemies. And this 1 down here means that they can only use, or this weapon can only be used in a space adjacent to it, to this character, or in the space that it is. I did get a chance to paint up our heroes. So we do have Jill right here. She is nicely painted up. I was able to get her painted up, but sadly I did contract the T virus, so I was only able to get our heroes painted up before I got my playthrough ready. I really wanted to get this game to the table, and I didn't want to have to sit and paint a whole bunch of zombies and dogs. I was planning to do a live painting video of those particular miniatures, but sadly I contracted the T virus and was unable to get to that because I didn't feel great all last week. So needless to say, we're going to be playing a game with some of these painted miniatures are going to be at least our heroes, but as we go through the campaign, more of this will be painted. You'll be able to see some really cool miniatures out on that board. Our heroes do each have special abilities. Jill's special abilities here is the Master of Unlocking. She can unlock a door if any other character has the required key in their inventory. Normally, you would have to have that person next to the door in order to do it, but she's super good. Also, she's a fighting spirit, and when an encounter card with this particular symbol is drawn, Jill and each of her characters get to heal one if they're on the same tile as her. So it is nice to be able to stay together, but also, of course, the more you stay together, the longer the time it'll take you to get through the mission, and more consequences will follow the longer you stick around in each of these areas of the mansion. Moving over to our next player, we're going to be playing with Chris Redfield as well. We have his miniature right here, nicely painted up and ready to go. He looks like this. These miniatures are pretty cool. They're kind of small, but they're really cool looking. He starts with a handgun, a knife, and he actually has a lighter. The lighter right here states this character can spend a kerosene token to discard either each corpse in their square or each corpse in an adjacent square, which is a good thing to get rid of because sometimes those corpses can stand back up and attack you. If you remember the game, it's so cool. There's so many thematic things happening in this game. It's super fun. He starts with 4 kerosene up here. He can only hold 6 items, and he has 2 dodge as well. He starts on full, and he has his 15 health. He does have a couple abilities here. One, he does have headshot. If Chris kills an enemy and the attack inflicted 2 or more damage, he's going to gain like the headshot ability here, and that would remove the enemy completely, and it wouldn't come back as a corpse. The target is considered completely killed and decapitated, and it ignores the tough hide special rule that we're going to see on some of our zombie characters. For example, it is right here. It has this tough hide. If the enemy is killed, it replaces it with a corpse, but instead he's able to blow the head clean off the zombie, and the only way to kill a zombie is to blow it up or to burn it, and we know that. The survivor, after Chris uses a defense item, I can roll a black die, and if the roll is 4, 5, or 6, I can return the item to my inventory. Now, he doesn't start with any defensive items. It would be located up here if it's a defense item, but these are not. This is considered a weapon, so we don't have any defense items for him right at the start, but we might find some as we're traveling through the mansion. Next, we have to get all of our decks ready. I know there looks like a lot out here, but it's not that tough once you get going here. The first thing we're going to do is we are going to take our special tactics and rescue service. These are our mission decks that may happen in the game. Now, when you go through each of these decks, it's going to tell you to take out certain things when the campaign starts. And then as you go through the game, it's going to add things into each of these decks to make it either become a little more difficult and for you to be able to continue in the mansion, because some of the places you go in the mansion need to be unlocked using different items or abilities, or I guess you could say events that have happened throughout the mansion. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to grab these mission decks, and we're going to remove all the ones that have this symbol down here at the bottom. And as like I said, we go through the game, it will tell us to add those to the thing. So we're going to remove those and put these out on the board for us, and I'll show you exactly where that goes soon. On top of that, here is our tension deck. Our tension deck starts a lot of all clears, some orange and red cards as well. Then it does tell you to remove everything that has this symbol down here. I know these symbols are super hard to see, which is why it took me a little while to figure out exactly which ones I was trying to remove, but I did figure it out, and once you get it all figured out, it's super easy. Next, again, we're going to take all of these. These are encounter cards right here, and we're again going to remove all the ones it tells us to. It has this symbol down here, and you're going to remove all the ones with that symbol, which is basically everything that comes from this. Certain decks are going to have certain symbols, and the reason they do that is that it can tell you, hey, add these to the deck based on this symbol and number. For example, this one has a symbol down here with a number. It's a different symbol. So if we come across the fact that we have to add these narrative events, if we have to add new narrative events, it'll be coming from the square deck that we took away. So put those out there and get them ready to go. The last few decks you have to get ready are your item decks. Again, we have our A deck, and we've removed all the ones that have a symbol like this, a triangle symbol. Then a number doesn't matter at this point, but as you go forward, it may. So we're going to remove all the triangle ones and put this deck out there ready to go. Same with our B deck here. I have our B deck right here. We have all of it ready to go. Now I have removed, of course, all the ones down here with the triangle symbol. So that deck is ready. The rest of this deck is going to be really unique. This one, first off, is a completely different card, and it's going to be completely put to the side. This is our B deck up here. We're going to remove that one from the B deck, and then we're not going to remove that. We're going to put that with the rest of the triangle cards. We're going to put that away. Now these, if you notice, have stars on them. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the stars that are number 1 and give them a good old truffle shuffle. Once these are shuffled up, we're going to set them right here. Then we're going to take the 2s and shuffle them up, and we're going to put the 1s right on top of the 2. We're going to take the 3, shuffle them up a little bit, and we're going to place them out on this right here. And then we're going to take our 4s, shuffle them up a little bit. Once we get those nicely truffle shuffled here, we'll put those on top of there, and we have our A deck, C deck ready to go. Do not ever shuffle this deck together. You have to shuffle it in that way because as you're playing through the mansion, certain things will need to be unlocked based on items that you find in the mansion. So in order to unlock this, I need to find this particular item in probably this deck. And most likely, if it's one of the things you need early in the game, it's going to be earlier in that deck than based on the ones you're going to need near the end of the game, which are going to be near the bottom of the deck in order to unlock some of the last places you need to go in the game. The last thing we have here is our dial that is going to determine how difficult this game is becoming. And this will adjust as the game goes forward. And as it goes forward, it may tell you to remove certain cards or add certain cards to certain decks to make the mansion become more of a dangerous place. So we'll put these decks aside along with this dial and leave it right where it is, and we'll be adjusting that as we go. Now, the last one we have is our survivor deck. It tells us to put up the, or reserve only, but it's our survivor deck. We're going to take all the survivors and mix them up. I believe you put these in here. I could be wrong. Please let me know in the comments below. But Barry and Rebecca are the other 2 characters you can play with. And I am going to tell you, I am using only the core stuff for this. I am not using any expansions. There are some expansions that give different, they have like a kind of a retro pack that have pictures based on like the 1994 game that looks kind of cool, but I'm not going to use those. I'm going to use everything you would normally get from the core game except for one thing, and that is I am going to use the door pack that I got as part of the Kickstarter exclusives, but I'm not going to be using anything else. I want people to realize what you can play with just getting the core box and what there is available to you. So we're going to shuffle up this survivor deck, and if I need to remove those other characters, I will going forward, but we're going to place this to the side, but we are going to put Brad on top. He is technically the first survivor, or yeah, I guess survivor we would find inside the mansion. Let's show you exactly where all these cards are going to go, and we'll be ready to start. Before I show you where all those go, I do want to make sure the decks are completely set up the way they're supposed to be for the scenario we're going to be playing. We are going to be playing to the first floor West A. It is the recommended first scenario, so that's the one we are going to play, and I'll show you a little bit more about that. But for now, I just want to get our deck set up and show you where those are going to go. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to adjust some of the decks that we just showed you. The first one we're going to adjust is our item A deck. I'm going to grab all the ones with this triangle 1 up here, shuffle them together, and add one of those to the starting deck A cards so that they'll have an extra card in there that may be beneficial to our group. On top of that, when it comes to our tension deck, we're going to shuffle the card that has a 1 octagon or hexagon, I think is what it is, into the tension deck at the start, making it a little bit tougher and more thematic for this particular place. Here's our mansion dashboard. I'm going to grab our deck here. This is our tension deck. We're going to give this a little truffle shuffle and place it down. Sadly, I haven't had a chance to sleeve any of these cards yet. That evil vile T-virus is keeping me down. The next thing I'm going to do is grab my encounter deck. We're going to give that a truffle shuffle. We'll put that one out there as well, ready to go. Now we do have our A deck that we had. Remember, we put that 1 extra card into. We're going to give that a truffle shuffle as well, so it's all set to go, putting it here. Then we have our B deck. Remember, our B deck is only made up of a few items based on what the scenario has listed. So we have those 4 cards. I've shuffled them up a little bit. We'll place those down here. We do not have any C cards for this particular scenario. This right here is where we'll put emblems or keys of that kind. It'd be our puzzle track that we're not going to deal with for the first mission unless it tells us as we go forward. But from what I understand, this first one doesn't start with that, but it might happen as we go forward. The bottom cards are as follows. Remember that Brad Vickers card we put on top? He is going to go into the reserve area. Now, if you ever have any of the main characters like Rebecca or Brad, for example, since we're only playing with 2 players, and they go into the reserve, you can switch out characters potentially between different missions if you wish to. But the rest of the cards are all going to go face down right here into our survivor deck. Actually, sorry, it's going to go in the stars place over here. That makes sense. There's a survivor deck over here. This right here is our item box. If you ever find an item box out there, you can use an action to be able to put any of the items that you have into that box, which then can be taken by other members of the Stars team throughout the campaign at any time you find a box. So that's kind of just like the game. It's really cool. You can find these boxes all over that have everything you need. Next, we have our narrative cards. We'll place those right down here. Once those are there, we're going to grab our mission deck, which is right here. We'll see how that plays through the game. And the last thing we have is we have to put down our exploration cards. We're going to be playing the first floor east or west, sorry, the first floor west A. So we're going to grab all the cards that have to do with that. We're going to place them right here. And if we ever have to open one of the doors that has to do with these cards, it will add more to the mansion. You'll see how that works during the gameplay. To start the campaign, you start in the main hall, just like you do in the video game. You come in from running from outside and you burst into this mansion, and then you kind of split up and go around the mansion because why not? You know, in a Resident Evil game and horror games, you always want to split up, right? Usually the best plan. So in the video game, same thing happens. You kind of split up between Chris and Jill and kind of go on your merry way. But from here, we're going to choose where we want to go. You can go to any of the unlocked areas. So I cannot go to the crypt and I cannot go to the either A or B crypts. And it does show you a little bit about what you're going to need in order to move into those particular places. And like I said earlier, there are other ones as well that we have to find things to unlock in order to be able to continue on through our campaign. So you might find them in these different areas that we can actually go to here, 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 and here. And the game does say that the order in which you do these is completely up to you, but it does recommend, if you've never played this before, that you should start at the first floor West A. So that is where we're going to start. We're going to start in this particular place, and we'll go to our scenario book and read and see what happens. First floor West A. Here's the introduction. The wind lashes the trees outside, leaves and branches scratching against the window panes like nails from some unseen assailant. A flash of lightning paints your surroundings, and for a moment you're sure you see the shadow of a figure on the opposite side of the window, hands pawing at the glass. Yet, when your eyes find the frame, there's nothing to be seen. Perhaps your imagination, perhaps not. Finding a secure place feels like your first objective, somewhere you don't have to watch the shadows for a moment. You can establish a base of operation. Next thing we have to do is find our objective, which is, in this scenario, the characters must find and secure the safe room. If each character is in the safe room tile, the players can choose to successfully complete the scenario at that time. If there are any enemies in the safe room tile when the scenario is completed, skip step 6 during the end phase, which I believe is the resolve the end of the scenario phase. Special rules: this is a quiet area. If the tension deck runs out during the scenario, shuffle the discard pile and place it face down on the refresh deck. Additionally, if the scenario is successfully completed, skip step 2 during the end phase. And we also have safe haven. A character on the safe room tile does not have to draw a card during the tension phase, and I'll show you how that works during the playthrough. And if we are able to complete the scenario, we'll add the first floor West B scenario card to the map, and that'd be a new place that we could go. Here's the layout for this particular scenario. It shows you all the tiles you're going to have to grab, and even shows you them down here as well. Also, from what I understand, this is probably how much of the game this will actually take up. So when you're building out this particular part of the mansion, start off on your table in this lower area here, because more of this will be uncovered as you go through the game. This is a panned out view of the map that we're ready to go into the mansion. When we play, I'm not going to be this panned out, so you can actually see exactly where we're moving and what we're doing. On top of this, we have to place our characters inside this mansion. I can place one of them here, and I can place the other one over here. Now, if you notice, not a single one of these is going to connect to each other, so we're totally starting in separate places. I'm going to start with Jill down here, and we'll start with Chris Redfield right there. What you're seeing on the map right here, first off, are the doors. Again, they're not painted. I apologize. Ooh, that evil T-virus keeping me down from my painting. And on top of that, we have A and B item locations. You can spend an action on top of that thing in order to grab the item from the top of the deck. On top of that, we have these particular tokens here that are going to have us draw encounter cards when we move into them to see what is in these rooms. We don't know, so it might not be worth opening this door because you have to draw 2 cards. But look, there's a token over there. We gotta go see what that is. On top of that, look at this one up here. There's 2 items in there. We totally want to get this out. Now, of course, the mansion's not fully safe. We have to put in our zombies and other adversaries that we have to deal with. In this particular scenario, there are places for these enemies to start, and then as we spawn enemies, they're gonna be spawning out onto these little areas here on the board. Now, again, sadly, I've got them primed, but I haven't had a chance to paint them yet. So we're going to place one right here, one here. These are, of course, just regular zombies. The other zombie is going to be in his room right up there. Oh, no. And the last thing we have is one of the dogs. Now, I did get a little bit of paint on one of the dogs, but I haven't fully finished him in. Of course, it's Resident Evil. I'm going to make him kind of gooey and yucky and icky and scary and all that stuff. So he's going to be right behind that door that you can't really see right now, but as we play, you'll be more focused on where the action is. Now, if you've noticed, there is a door here, and there's also also a door up here that don't go to anywhere. As we go to these doors and open them, we're going to be revealing more of the mansion, more enemies, more rooms, and we don't know exactly what's there. So it does give you a little bit of that semblance of when you open a door, you don't know what's behind it. But of course, it being a board game, they have to at least have some places where they already have things laid out for you. It's not always just a random where you're going to go. I think this is a really cool system that mixes these two versions together. I think that's really cool. That's it for the setup. We're all set to start Resident Evil, the board game. Let's see if we can make it through the first floor, West A. The game is made up of 3 phases. There's the action phase, the reaction phase, and the tension phase. One of the cool things about this game, as you're going to see it played, is there's not really an enemy turn. So the game moves along very well, and the monsters are just going to react to what you do, which is why it's called the reaction phase. So we're going to move into the action phase for one of our characters chosen by us. Now, once you decide the order, that's the order you're going to continue to move in. So it's going to start with Jill, and then we'll go to Chris, and we're not going to be able to adjust that order for the rest of this scenario. We're always going to go Jill, then Chris. Some of the actions you can do are move, open, close doors, search, trade, use item, or attack. Now, of course, opening and closing a door is very obvious. Just open or close that door. The second one is moving. You can move 1 space for 1 action, and just to let you know, you do have 4 total actions each turn that you can use. Being able to search is if, of course, you're on top of one of these, you can use the search and you can see what is exactly in that spot. The trade action is one where you can give any number of items between 2 different people as long as they're adjacent to each other. So if I can ever get Chris and Jill together, we could trade some of our items if we needed to. The other thing is we can use items. So say we wanted to use our first aid spray, that would be one of our actions to use that particular item, and then you would discard the item. Now, it doesn't take an action at all if you have too many items you want to drop things. You can just drop them and they're gone. That is basically, I guess you say, a free action, but it doesn't take one of your actions to drop things. Then, of course, the last thing you can do is you can attack using one of your weapons. So with where I am now, I could move 1, 2, 3 over to here, and then I'd have 1 action left to maybe deal with that zombie if I wanted to. And when you do move, you can move diagonal, but you cannot move diagonal if there's a protruding wall like there is right here. So I couldn't be able to move diagonally to that space there because this is a protruding wall on that particular location. Let's put our zombie back, and I think for our first action, we are going to open this door, and we're just going to symbolize that by opening it up just like that. And once we open it, we could move in if we wish to, using one of our next actions. For action 2, I am going to then move into this room. And at that point, I will be revealing encounter cards equal to the number that you see printed here. So for this one is 1. But like I said, if you move over here, there's 2 over here, 2 different cards. You're going to draw 2 different cards. But for this one, we're only going to draw 1. So we'll draw the top encounter card and take a look and see what it says. It says here, spawn a zombie. Then on the bottom, it says, search the encounter deck, discard pile for any cards with spawn entries that spawn Cerberus enemies, and shuffle them back into the deck. Well, this is not going to pertain because we don't have any of them in the discard pile, but we are going to spawn a zombie in this room. So we're going to grab one of our unpainted zombies here, and we'll place it in the farthest location to Jill on the board that we can place it. Now, of course, the only problem is if you ever have to place a zombie and the only place is in the place where our hero is, you have to place it there. But with it being there, I'm totally fine with it. So that is 1 to open the door, 2 to move into here, 3, I could move over there, grab that, and then 4, and then grab my item. Now, of course, that does mean during the reaction phase, all these zombies are going to move on to me, but I think that might be okay. Remember, I might not want to use all of my bullets. Maybe I do. We'll find out. I am going to move again with my 3rd action, and for my 4th action, I am going to pick up this item, and we're going to draw the top card off of our B deck and see what we have found. We have found ourselves a kerosene container. It says, instead of placing this card in the character's inventory, place it face up on the square with 3 kerosene tokens on it. A character in the square can spend an action to remove any number of tokens and add them to their profile card. When the last token is removed, discard this card. Well, that's not really going to help us very much. We'll place it right here, especially since it's so far pretty much away from everything. But I will place 3 kerosene tokens onto it so that we have those available to us if you ever decide we need to come back here for for more kerosene. It is right there. Now that, of course, is the end of all 4 of my actions. So at this point, we'll move into the reaction phase. And that means every enemy that is in the same squares or the same room as I am, and any linked rooms. Linked rooms are rooms that have a open door to them. So for example, this is a linked room here. And if this one was open, this would be a linked room as well. So you kind of want to maybe shut some of these doors behind you as you go, but that's okay. We're then going to move these enemies. They're all going to move 1 space towards that particular person. So we'll move them like that. And this person is going to move actually into my square. Now it doesn't make an attack against me. It is just moving in there as part of the reaction phase. In order to know if the enemy would attack you, you look at their card. And here's one particular enemy. It's the zombies, which is the ones we're fighting. And the things you're seeing on this particular card is you're going to notice a lot of values and things. The first thing up here is that this is the type of enemy. It is a zombie. The next thing you see is the threat level. The lower the number, the less of a threat these particular enemies are. Then it also shows their movement value and their health up there as well. This is their special ability over here. It has tough hide. And these are the 2 different attacks it would perform. The first attack would be that if it is in the same square as me, it will roll a die and attempt to try to bite me and do damage to me. Yuck. Or if the symbol like this is found in the threat deck or the tension deck, I'm sorry, then it would change its particular attack to this, which means if I had that showing in my threat or my tension deck discard pile, then that one from here would have been able to attack me during the tension or during its reaction phase because it is 1 square away. But since it's not, it's only going to move into my square. And then next turn, if I don't do anything about that and it goes to the next reaction phase, then it would actually do something to poor old Jill. But alas, that is not going to happen. We are going to move over to Chris now. Let's see what he can do. Chris is in Amazingville with 1 zombie. The things in his particular area is he, of course, is in a place with an A token, which, who knows, something awesome might be there. Let's grab that first. Let's move over here for 1. And then for my next action, I am going to grab that particular item from the A deck and we'll see what we have found. We have found ourselves a green herb. Heal the character or another character in the same or adjacent square 1 level. So we'll put that into his inventory. That is a second action. For his third action, I'm wondering if I should take out that zombie, mainly because he does have a lighter. So if we turn this zombie into a corpse, I could light that zombie on fire in the next turn and I would never have to worry about that zombie again. And sometimes in this game, based on the amount of things you've left in the particular part of the mansion that you're in, it could affect how dangerous this mansion becomes as you go forward, which is a really cool system. Most of these decks that you have seen me build are going to persist throughout this campaign. So leaving things around means that the event deck and potentially the tension deck will become more difficult as we go through the mansion. So let's kill that zombie. Okay, we're going to shoot him because he's a ways away. I'm going to take my dial. I got 15 bullets. I'm going to use 2. Let's go to 2 bullets. And I'm going to tick that down to 13 and we're going to roll it up and see if we get him. Our zombie has, our hero, I should say, is going to roll 2 blue dice. You just roll 1 blue die for each attack that we have or each bullet we use. I used 2 bullets. So we had a pushback and we had a hit, which is perfect. That's exactly what I want. So the first roll we had is going to be allowing us to push this zombie. And you can push the zombie into any adjacent space you want to. I'm actually going to push him towards me. And the reason I'm going to do that is because, of course, our second action, our second die roll is this one. And it's going to do 1 damage. And we've already seen that zombies only have 1 health. So once that zombie takes its 1 health, it is going to die. But remember, it does have the tough hide, which means that if this enemy is killed, replace it with a corpse. So sadly, I don't have the corpses, of course, painted either because I'm the evil T-Virus. So I'm going to just place a corpse token down on the ground. Now, you're probably wondering, why did you put that in the square next to you? Because I can then use my 4th action to use my lighter. The character can spend a kerosene token to discard either each corpse in the square or each corpse in an adjacent square. So I am going to use one of my kerosene to burn that corpse to pieces. Now, one thing about these corpses I'm going to talk about is they may eventually rise up and attempt to attack you. There could be event cards or something from the tension tension deck that is going to do that. The other thing that could happen is if you move onto a space or spend an action moving into or out on that space, you'll roll a 6-sider, and if you roll that particular roll on it, that corpse would rise up and go after you again. So we're going to burn that corpse. The last phase that you're going to do is the tension phase. Now, Jill has completed the reaction phase and her actions, so she is going to grab the top card from the tension deck. This could be anything from bad things to good things. We'll see what it says here. It does say all clear, so it says you pause, ears strained for even the slightest sound, nothing beyond your own ragged breath. So does that mean you're safe for now? Yes, it does. I am all clear, so I don't have to worry about it. With Chris completing all of his actions, it is now time to go to his reaction phase, but there isn't anything happening. There's nothing on his tile to allow to react to him, and this is a closed door, so that enemy deck there will not react to him as well. Now, of course, his reactions are done, but now he has to move to the tension phase. So he's just going to draw the top card from the tension deck and see what we found. We found cornered. So this is an orange card. This is going to be a little bit worse. It says a vicious snarl sends a shiver down your spine as you realize your foe has found you once more. Locate the tile closest to the active character where there are enemies but no characters. Remove the enemy on the tile with the highest threat level and place them on the character's tile on the closest biohazard symbol. Oh, that's barf. All right, so here's the deal. There is a tile here, and there's a tile here, and a tile here. They're all basically located closest to him. To meet the requirements of this card, it's going to be this. This person's value is 2 when it comes to how dangerous it is. It has a 2 threat level, as we see on the Cerberus's card here. 2 threat level, and it moves 2, and it has 1 health, and it does lots of things. Oh my gosh, it can attack 3 spaces away if it gets that symbol in the tension deck. Oh, that's horrible. All right, let's even get this feral. It says if the top card in the tension deck discard pile is that symbol, the enemy performs 2 reactions instead of 1 during the reaction phase. Wow, this thing does a lot of things. Let's get rid of that thing. I've never liked the dogs. Dogs in the game always equal dead. I always want to kill the dogs when I played the game because the dogs were always really, really dangerous. Now, a couple reasons it was this and not the ones down in this one is, first off, she was, of course, in that room, so that would negate that one coming. Also, this is a level 1 threat, where that, of course, is level 2. Moving back over to Jill's turn now, she has a few options here. 1, she can run. 2, she can attack. Those are her only options. If I decide to attack this monster in this space that it's in, and I'm not successful, it will make an auto attack against me and do damage to me. So that's one of the drawbacks. Now, of course, the good thing is if I do actually hit it and kill it, it will die. Also, I could maybe push him out of my square with a successful attack. Also, if you attack, anything in the room or linked rooms, which would be this one, are going to be able to perform an out-of-sequence reaction. So that might also be a reason why we might not want to attack this guy. My goal is actually to get back over here and close this door. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to run from this zombie. I'm going to use one of my actions to move. Now, of course, he's in my square, so he's going to make an attack against me, and I'm going to have to try to dodge that. Some things to remember during this particular movement is if I'm not able to evade, I'm going to be hit by this particular zombie and take 1 damage. And I would actually have to stay where I am, and since he was successfully able to hit me, once that's done, I'm able to push him, and it would still cost me an action. So there is a chance that I'm not going to get out of here by just trying to move, but I think it's still our best bet. I need to roll 2 blue dice as my defense, and all I need to do is get 1 dodge on them. And I did. I got this particular dodge. There are 3 different dodge symbols on these dice. There's this one, and one other one that shows a triple little line on it. Those are all going to be good enough to successfully dodge this particular zombie, but depending on the size of the base of the monster you're trying to attempt to hit you, or the amount of enemies you have in your square would decide what type of dodge you have to do. For example, since this zombie is a single base, small base enemy, any one of those particular symbols will work. If I'm going against a medium, or if there are 2 zombies in my space, the only ones that would work would be these 2 particular symbols. And of course, if I'm have medium base or small bases, or 3 small bases, like, oh, so many enemies I can't deal with it, then the only way I could dodge would be on a 1 in 6 chance, which would be this particular roll here. But we were able to get that dodge, so we're able to move. I will move 1, 2, 3, I'm going to close this door, which now that room is no longer linked to me, which is fantastic. So that zombie is not going to go after me anymore. Now the other next thing I could do is I could move one more space, or I could attack. Now if I don't successfully attack, this thing will move towards me, and so will this, and doing an out of sequence reaction. But I think that'll be okay. I think it's best to try to take some of these guys down. Let's rapid fire 2 bullets into this guy, bringing our bullet total down to 13. We'll roll 2 dice and see how we do against this particular zombie. We did get a hit, so he's going to go down. He's going to take 1 damage, and because of that thick hide or tough hide, he is going to become a corpse. That worked out absolutely super good. He's going to go right there. This thing is going to react to that attack, and then he's going to use a reaction step to move 1 more space towards me. Now remember, if I step on top of this, I'm going to have to roll a die to see if it comes back up. For now, I think we're going to be okay. Next turn, I might try to attempt to maybe attack this guy, hopefully get him up into this area and try to run past him and see if that works. But of course, we're done with her steps now. We're going to draw our next tension card and see what we have found. Again, all clear. Lights flickers overhead, out of an unseen struggling against the shroud of darkness surrounding you. Better you not remain here, lest it fails. Okay, it does have this symbol on it though, so that's going to adjust what some of the enemies do for the next turn. Moving to Chris's turn, I know I said a good dog is a dead dog in Resident Evil because they're usually filled with yuck and guck and they're usually pretty powerful and I don't like dealing with them. But in this particular instance, I can get out. 1, 2, 3 to open this door, and then 4 to move through it. So next turn, I can potentially close that door and leave this thing in there. But let's quick look at our card to make sure that this feral is not going to fly off the handles here. It is. He is going to perform 2 reactions instead of 1 during the reaction phase because of our all clear card having that symbol on the bottom of it here. So that might, it's a different symbol. Okay, it's not going to do that. Okay, good. This is a different symbol. This symbol is going to be his attack, which is still going to attack from 3 away, which is going to be horrible. So maybe I should just take out this dog. I think we have to take out the dog. I don't want to take out the dog. I wish I could get through the door and shut it, but I can't. 1, 2, 3 to open the door, 4 to get on that side. I would like to, okay, we're going to take out the dog. I'm going to shoot that dog. I don't like dogs in this game. Don't get me wrong, I like dogs, but I don't like feral Cerberus dogs that look like demon dogs of death. We're going to shoot 2 bullets into this dog and see how that goes. He's going to go down to 11 on his handgun. We'll roll 2 dice and hope we are able to kill this thing. We are not. We're only able to push it, which isn't going to help us at all. That's our first action. Do I keep on shooting this thing? I think we do. We're going to shoot it again with only 1 bullet this time. For my second action, I'm going to shoot it for 1 bullet and see how that goes. Oh, I get to push it again. All right, I'm going to shoot him 1 more time. We're going to go down to 9 bullets. There we go. We were able to take him out, but wow, we used a lot of bullets. Each of those bullets were able to do something. The first one was a push, so I could push it here. The second time we rolled again another push, I can push it there. And the third time we finally shot him, he died. So we're able to take him off the board because he does not have that thick hide. The Cerberus will die from that attack. Oh my gosh. Now I have 1 action left. I'm just going to move 1. That was bonkers out of control. But we got rid of the Cerberus. I'm not a fan of those demon dogs. They're totally going to rip me to pieces if I don't deal with them. It's the end of his turn. We are going to move into the tension phase. There's nothing that's going to be tense for him. So he's just going to draw his reaction phase. There's nothing to react to. We'll draw our tension card. Our tension card is shattering glass. You jump at the sound of breaking glass and prepare for the worst. Draw an additional tension card. And notice these symbols here. If we had made it to those particular spots on our dial inside of the mansion, so as we go through the mansion, this is going to become more deadly, like I said. If we were up in this particular area, we would have had to abide by everything on this card, which would be absolutely terrible. It'd spawn additional Cerberus on the active character tile and all this other stuff. But we're not. We're at the starting point, so none of that is actually going to happen to us. Just the original part of the card, which just says draw an additional tension card. So we'll take our tension card, draw it up, and see what we have found. Fevered Assault. Unnatural vigor possesses the undead as they hurl themselves towards you in a stumbling run. During the next player's turn, increase the enemy movement value by 1. And of course, this doesn't happen because we haven't reached that part yet. this card remains in play for 1 round if that would have happened. So that's awesome. I'm going to put this right next to Jill down over in her area so I can remember that. Thank you, Chris. On a scale of 1 to horrible, that card was a horrib. Okay, we're going to see what we can do about this particular zombie because he's going to be able to move 1 more space during this entire turn. The next player's turn, increasing enemy movement value by 1. All right, so I'm going to just shoot him with 1 bullet. I have a plan. It might not be the greatest plan, but it is still a plan. I'm going to go down to 12 bullets on Jill Valentine's gun, and she's going to attempt to take him out with 1 shot. I'm not actually expecting this to go all that well. It did not. I failed, but it does move towards me, making an out-of-turn reaction. So it's going to move towards me, and since its move value is increased by 1, it's going to go 2 spaces. That's my first action. My second action is here, 3, 4. Wow, I'm still not going to get away from him. I was really hoping I could just run from him, but with his extra movement value, he's going to get me. Oh boy. Well, that's the way it goes. We're going to try to get by him. I'm going to move here for my second action, and my third action is going to be to move away. Let's see how that goes. I'm going to attempt to dodge, and I did not dodge, so I'm going to take 1 damage from this zombie, and that actually ruins my action for that turn. Jill goes from fine to kind of fine. And since that action failed and she did get hit, she does get to push him 1 space, so that was 1 to shoot, 2 to move here, 3 failed, and 4 to move there. During the reaction phase, he is then going to move moving 1, 2 right back towards me thanks to the wonderful card that Chris drew. Now, from what I understand, this one will not do anything type of reaction because, again, we are no longer linked. At this point, I can discard that one. That was horrible. And now she's going to draw another card and see what happens during her... oh, she's got an orange card, too. It says here, dead eyes flicker open to reveal milky orbs as the closest corpse rises unsteadily to its feet. Oh, barf. Locate the corpse closest to the active character, remove the corpse, and spawn a zombie in its square. Oh my gosh, this is so bad for Jill. Apparently Jill has entered zombie land because there's another zombie right there for her. Unbelievable. Now I do want to mention that say I didn't have a zombie corpse in next to her anywhere on the board, say it looked just like this and there were no zombie corpses, since I could not actually resolve that tension card, I would draw 2 cards then and resolve them instead. Chris, it'd be awfully nice if you could get to Jill. Jill is in trouble. 1, 2 to open this door. 3 to move forward, and 4 to go right there. I'm not going to close the door behind me. There is nothing there, so I don't think I have to worry about it. Well, that's what I say. There are no encounter or tokens in this room, so I don't have to deal with those. I just have to resolve the tension step because there's nothing to react. It says here, silence, calm, peace. Do you truly trust these things? Or are they sinister traps tempting you into lowering your guard? All clear. Finally, Chris has drawn an all clear card. I'm starting to worry about our good friend Jill here. She has 2 zombies pretty much right on top of her, and I need to get by them. And I don't even know, I was thinking about opening this door, but that's 2 encounter cards. With my luck, that's again more zombies and a massive fun time. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna attempt to move out of the square of that one. Then I'm gonna attempt to move into here. So I'm gonna try to go 1, 2, 3, 4 up to there. That's gonna be our plan. We'll see how these rolls that take place to see if that actually happens. She has 2 agility, so we'll see how he does against the first one. We were able to dodge past the first one. So we're able to now go to the second zombie. We'll see how we're able to do against that zombie. Oh wow, we got super dodges against that zombie. So we were able to run right by him without us even knowing. Both of these zombies are still going to do their reaction to move towards me, and then we'll draw our next tension card that hopefully says all clear on it. It does, oh good, it says all clear. Soft light paints your surroundings. On the other nights in another place, you might call the atmosphere relaxing, but not here. And not now. This is a nightmare. Back up here in relax mode, he's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. That's his turn. We're going to draw another tension card and call it a day for good old Chris. Low growls torment your sinister whispers that bleed from behind closed doors and through thin walls. In this hellish place, little respite is offered, only moments to catch your breath, for as long as you dare. We've gotten another all clear card for him. Here's the deal. I'm going to have to open this door in front of me. And then hopefully be able to close it behind me, and that way I can leave these zombies in the dust. Hopefully we do not need this item here. They could need it. I don't know, but it's an A item, so I don't think it's really something we're going to need. It could be like a medical herb or something, which would be really nice. But I don't think it's worth risking going into that room. So let's open this door, and at this point, we're going to reveal more of the mansion. Opening that door will cost us one of our actions, but how I understand it is when you're opening a door to an unexplored area, it not only takes your action to open the door, but also get to move into that room for free. I could be wrong, but I believe that's how it works. And we're going to grab the card that says 1 on it because these doors are both a 1. If either one of our characters would have opened these doors, I would have revealed this card. So since Jill is opening it, we're going to look at the card and see what it shows. So if we look here, S is the starting area where the number is. So if that's the number we're doing, we are going to line up S, and then here's the other S, which would be that door here. So if we spin the card like this, we're going to notice that we're going to set up a whole nother area of the mansion over in this area, meaning we're going to put these 4 tiles out on the board. With everything placed on the board, I am going to put this card right here to remind myself that that is a locked door, and I have put all our tiles down. And according to how it's explained in the rule book, once all the tiles are placed down, you're moved into the room as the tiles are revealed. So I am going to have to draw an encounter card based on that right there that I have sitting in the tile. So we'll see what is in this room. It says right here, spawn 2 corpses. All right, that's all that's in this room is 2 corpses. I say that now, but who knows what could happen. Unless she's standing on a space or there's one over here, the only 2 places where the biohazard symbols are to place these corpses is going to be here and here. So we'll put our 2 corpses right down there and move into the rest of her turn. I kind of wish Chris was here because he has that lighter to be able to light some of these corpses on fire, but instead I'm going to, for my second action, close that door. We're going to move over here for 3, and since I moved onto that, I now have to roll a 6-sider and see if that corpse is going to rise up and attack us. It got a 5, so that is not going to happen. If I were to have rolled the umbrella symbol, then that would have happened. So we 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to open this door for 4. And that is going to be the end of my turn. Now, I do want you to be aware, this is an archway. That archway does mean that these are going to be connected when it comes to the reaction phase. Now, I haven't gone in this room yet to see what's there, but once I do, if anything was in this room, I wouldn't be able to shut this door behind me to be able to prevent those things from doing anything. That's the end. There's nothing to use for the reaction. So I'm going to grab my next tension card and see what we have found. It says here, are the footsteps you hear at the edge of the earshot another survivor? Or do they belong to something else entirely? Regardless, one thing is clear. If you can hear them, they can hear you too. All right, it is all clear. Chris is behind that door. I'm going to have him for one action open the door. For a second action, he's going to move in, and we're going to have to draw an encounter card to see what's here, but it's just so tempting because look at all the awesome loot that could potentially be in that building. So we'll draw an encounter card and see what befalls our wonderful character here. It's a red one. That's usually not good. It says spawn a zombie. Oh, no. Okay. So we'll have to put a zombie in that room, and there's only one place I think it can go. Nope, there's one over here. So it's going to go to the farthest possible spot, which can be right there. On top of that, that was 1 to open the door, 2 to move in, 3 to move right here, and then that's all I can do. I don't think I have line of sight because, of course, this is blocking. You can only go from line to line. So I could move 1 more space if I wanted to, or I could wait for it to move here, and then I can maybe attack it next turn. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to draw a tension card. Now, of course, I've left a lot of doors open. If something else spawns behind me, there could be big trouble for Chris here. Oh, good. It says, all appears safe, but you don't dare relax. In this haunted nightmare, the slightest lapse of concentration can lead to an untimely demise. Again, we are all clear. And I haven't been saying it, but there isn't anything on these cards that we've been drawing so far. So we're doing okay. Now I forgot to do the reaction phase. He is going to move 1 space towards me. That's my fault. I forgot to do that. We should do that before the tension phase. Meanwhile, Jill might be hearing something coming from the walls over there, but not yet. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're just going to go like that and grab an item from a deck and then move back over to this square right here. Let's see what Jill has found herself. She's found herself a green herb. That's fantastic. We've already read what that does, so I'm not too worried. That's the end of her turn. There's nothing for her to be reacting to, so I'm going to grab my next tension card. Now, from what I understand, if I were to link all of this together, this zombie over here would react because it's technically all linked together. But for now, nothing is open like that. We'll draw a tension card. We got another all clear. 4, fear, hunger, exhaustion. All are demons threatening to drag you down, but you won't let this evening be your last. There and another might find defeat. You only resolve. You are a member of stars and you have a duty to perform. So that's the end of her turn. She got an all clear. Here's the deal. Chris needs to just unload on this zombie. I need this zombie dead. I need it to be burned to pieces so I can get both of these. If I were to start trying to dodge through this and try to pick up all these items, it would be just a pain in the butt. So we're going to shoot that guy with our handgun. I'm going to start with 3 bullets. 1, 2, 3, bringing myself down to only 6 bullets with Chris, but hopefully that'll be enough to take him out. Using the rapid fire on our pistol might not be the best way to do this, but hopefully we can, oh, look at this, we got 2 hits. That's fantastic. Remember, Chris has that ability called headshot. So it says here, if Chris kills an enemy and the attack inflicts 2 or more damage, it gains that headshot ability, the headhunter, which means we were able to pretty much decapitate that zombie, and so he's not even need to be burned. That is our first action, was to shoot that zombie dead. Our second action is going to move here. Third action is to grab this item. And our fourth action will be to move over here to grab that item eventually as well. We're going to grab our B deck and see what item we have found. We have found ourselves a first aid spray. He is up to carrying 5 items. He can only carry a total of 8 or 6, I believe. So he can only carry 1 more thing, which means whatever we find here is pretty much be the last thing he can carry. There's nothing for him for the reaction phase, so we're just going to draw our next tension card and see what we have found. Frayed nerves, movement chases through your shadows, enemies all around you. If the next character is on the same tile at the start of their tension phase, they begin their turn on, they must draw 2 additional cards. Okay, we do not want that to happen, but I'm going to go put this next to Jill so I can remember that she has to deal with that. She's not going to be anywhere near that particular room because she's going to move right out of it. She's going to move 1, 2, 3, and then open this door for 4. At least that's the plan. Of course, my 6-sider might say something different. I have to roll for each one of these zombies. I'm going to roll for this one first. He got a 3. The second one got a 5. So neither one of them is going to rise up on me. Oh, I so wish I had a lighter right now. But that's going to be the end of her turn. She's moved 1, 2, 3 and opened the door for 4. She did not move in. She'll have to do that next turn. Hopefully both these cards say, oh, hey, there's nothing but nothing in here. That'd be awesome. So I'm going to discard this. We no longer have to deal with that. But I do have to draw a tension card because we don't have to worry about our reactions. There's nothing around us. We have found ourselves mission update. Your radio sputters to life. An abrupt reminder you are not alone in this forsaken place. Draw a mission card. Our mission cards are located right here. We shuffled them all up. Let's see what mission we have. Decoy. Place this card to one side of the playing area with the assigned character next to it. For the rest of the scenario, when drawing from the encounter deck, you can choose not to resolve the card and instead place this card next to this one. Then draw a replacement. At the end of the scenario, the assigned character suffers each one of those symbols on the encounter cards, then is returned to the reserve. If the character is killed, they are removed from the game instead. Okay, so she's kind of a decoy. I'll put that with Jill next to her player board. Now, what that card is talking about is as I'm drawing encounter cards, if you notice, the top of these cards have different symbols. So if I ever draw an encounter I'm not a big fan of and it has, and I can get rid of it, or kind of get rid of it, I can put it on that decoy card and draw another one. But of course, if I'm putting these on that decoy card, I'm gonna have to take damage at the end of the scenario from how I understand it. And of course, if I die, I'm removed from the game. Oh, sorry, I'm not removed. This card is removed from the game, and so it's instead. So that is how the decoy is going to work. It's time for Chris to come back. He's gonna use his first action to pick up that token, then 1, 2, 3, 4, just like that. Boom. All right, let's see what we have found. We're gonna draw our A deck here. Hopefully, I really need to find some ammo. He found the green herb. That does not help me at all. He's at his maximum, and He's got green herbs up the wazoo. Maybe when he connects with Jill, eventually they can use the herbs. He can use his herb on her to heal her up. I'm a little scared to go into this room because of the 2 encounter cards, but we have to get in there. That's the deal. So I'm going to put 1 right there. We'll draw 2 encounter cards. Remember, I have that decoy card. So if I don't like one of these 2 cards, I can maybe swap it out. The first one here, oh, it's red and gold, blue there. Let's see what this one says. Discard this card without effect. Oh my gosh, I didn't even know there's cards like that in there. Super pumped about that one. Let's see what this one says. This one says place a yellow unexplored token on this tile. Well, doesn't that mean I just have to resolve it then? I would guess I put a yellow unexplored token on this tile. I'm not exactly sure how that all resolves. I've moved into this place, so if you're in a tile that has an unresolved exploration token, I have to resolve it. I understand why that card does it. Maybe there's something in the game that the yellow tokens no longer apply or something. I don't know. But I think that just means I have to draw another card is the deal. Because I have to, I think, resolve this token. So we'll discard that token. If I'm wrong about this, please let me know in the comments below. And if there's any errors that I make post launch of this video, please check the pinned comment of this video and you'll find any rule errors that you can learn from, because I'm hoping everybody can understand and be able to play this game based on this playthrough. That's at least my goal. So we're going to continue on. I'm going to draw a card based on this token being placed in the room, and we'll see what we have found. We have found ourselves, what's this? Spawn a zombie in the active character's square. Oh, yuck. Interestingly, I could have used my decoy card to not have this zombie there, but I think it's going to be okay. We have plenty of weapons and things to maybe be able to take this guy out. So that was my first action, walking in. My second action is going to be to move past him over to here, and that's going to be my second action. My third action is going to be to pick this up. My fourth action will be to move into the corner. But of course, we have to evade that zombie first. I'll roll 2 dice, and we just need to see 1 evade. We got 1 evade, so we're totally fine and able to move past him. So like I said, we're moving 1 to here. Then for our second action, we're moving here. Third action, we're going to pick this up. And our fourth action is going to be to move back here. I've got a plan. Maybe if I go back here, I'm going to go right here. That's where I'm going to go. I think 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's going to be great. Okay, we're going to go right there. I've got a super good plan. I'm going to, of course, it could all be foiled by some of these cards. We're going to draw a B token or a B card and see what we have found. We found an old key. This was what we want. Unlocks doors unlocked by a simple lock. And this one is a simple lock according to this card right here. So that is a simple lock. So this is fantastic. She can hold on to this, which is awesome. All right, that's the end of her turn. Now there is a reaction this time. This one's going to move towards her, just like that. And then I'm going to draw a tension card that hopefully doesn't say that zombie jumps on top of you and eats you for dinner. This one, oh, good. It says fatigue burns hard, your muscles complaining as much as your frayed nerves on this long night of sustained horror. But for a moment, at least, you've found respite. Pause to calm your nerves and consider your next move. And this does have a different symbol down here, meaning it is a more dangerous monsters out there, which is not good. Now I have a small dilemma here. If I were to move and open this door, it would then link all of this together, meaning this one would activate during the reaction phase. And when it does react during the reaction phase, it's going to move towards the closest survivor or closest STARS member, which would actually be Jill. And I don't want it to go into that square. I want myself to be able to run past this zombie and get out of that room. So I think for now, all we're going to do with Chris is move 2 spaces to here and stop. I'm not even going to open that door because I do not want to link all of this together. So once he's done, nothing's going to react then, and I'm going to draw my next tension card. Now my goal is maybe to get Jill out over to this way, and maybe he can come in and burn these corpses because I don't want any corpses around. Let's draw our card. All clear. Dust falls from above in a thin trail accompanied by a thump of footsteps. They're on the hunt, looking for you. And again, there's nothing different about this card that's going to allow it to attack any better, which is awesome. And now it's going to be Jill's turn. Jill's going to move 1, 2, 3. Now, of course, she did move right onto that zombie, so something might happen. Oh, good, nothing. 1, 2, 3. And then at this point, I'm going to shut the door 4, and I'm going to throw it against all the other doors and knock everything everywhere, just like that. Okay, now that we've shut that door, that zombie's in there, I don't have to worry about him anymore in theory. There's nothing to react because I have shut all the doors to things that could react. I'm going to draw my next tension card and another all clear. Fatigue burns hard, your muscles complaining as much as your frayed nerves on this long night of sustained horror. But for a moment at least, you've found respite. Pause, calm your nerves, and consider your next move. Okay, and again, doesn't do anything on the bottom. Fantastic, and that's the end of her turn. Moving into Chris's turn, one thing I could have done, or should have done, I guess, either way you want to look at it, is this is easier, especially when there's like doors like this that are out here already connected like this. But you can remind yourself what these are by placing these out on these doors, so you can remind yourself that that's a simple lock and you need to find that particular item. Now, of course, there was only, I think, only one key in this scenario, I'm guessing. So with this key, I'm hopefully going to get up there and unlock it. But for now, we're going to go on to Chris. He's going to use one of his actions to unlock this door, open this door, I should say. Then he's going to move 2 into this room. And he's going to have to draw 2 encounter cards because of this token right there. The first one that he has found is going to be a Cerberus. Oh boy, a Cerberus. Okay, we'll spawn a Cerberus. I think I'm okay with that. I can shoot it. It's going to go right there. And their second one is going to be, what's this say? It says down here, locate the closest tile to the active character that contains 1 or more enemies and at least 1 non-locked closed door. Open every non-locked closed door on the tile. Nope. I'm going to use my decoy on that. I think that's the way that's going to go. We're going to place that card, it says right here, next to this one. You can choose to resolve the card and instead place it next to this one. Choose not to resolve it, sorry. Then draw a replacement. So that is what we are going to do. We are going to draw another one because that was terrible. I do not need any doors opening. That would be horrible. Uh-oh. It says here, locate the closest tile to the active character that contains 1 or more enemies and at least, oh, wait, this is the same card. Really? Same card? Oh no. Can I do it multiple times? Let's see here. Or it can only be done once per turn. It says here, for the rest of this scenario, when drawing from the encounter deck, you can choose not to resolve the card and instead place this card. I think I can keep doing it, right? I don't see why not. I'm going to do it again then. I don't want to open that door. That's terrible. I'm going to have a zombie in the room. All right, let's see what this one says. Spawn a zombie, then draw a tension card. Sure, we'll do that. We'll spawn a zombie. It'll spawn right here, and we'll draw a tension card. Let's see what this tension card says. It says all clear. You can hear trees rustling outside, swaying on the wind. The longest of their branches tickle the window panes, scratching like nails. Lightning flashes and a long shadow stretches over the floor. Suddenly you're not sure the sound belongs to trees after all. That has the more powerful attack symbol too. Oofta. Okay, so that's 2 actions. 1 to open it, 1 to move in. Oh boy. The next one, I have to again take out that dog. That dog is Bad News City. And that guy standing there is also Bad News City because he's going to move into my square. All right, well, I'm going to remove this. We've already dealt with that. I'm going to shoot. I'm going to shoot again with my gun. I never found any bullets. I was hoping to find them. I've got 6, so I'm going to go down to 3. We're going to shoot that dog, leaving with only 3 handgun bullets with Chris. This is getting rough. I need to kill Ruff the crime dog there. Let's see how it goes. I did get my attack symbol, so that dog is dead. We'll remove it from the board. I don't have to deal with him. Sadly, this one will react and move into my space with me. And I think at this point, we're going to go for broke here. I'm going to use all the rest of my ammo, bringing it down to 0 to fire at that zombie that's in my space. Before I make the attack, I do want to mention that this is showing on the tension deck right now, but that isn't going to affect the zombie. The zombies have a different symbol right there. That means that they're going to attack 1 space away. The one it was going to affect was the dog. It allows it to perform 2 reactions, which are absolutely bonkers terrible. So I'm going to roll our dice and see how we do. I need to get at least 1 hit here. Oh, wow. Again, look at this. I got 2 shots. That means we're able to headshot this guy. But now, of course, I am completely out of ammo. And with that completed, there's no more reactions that I have to deal with. So I'm going to draw a card. Again, all clear, silence, calm, peace. Do you truly trust these things? Or are the sinister traps tempting you into lowering your guard? And again, we have the more difficult symbol down here. I don't think it's really going to matter to anything. I am going to move 1, 2, 3, 4 to right there. Call it a day. Nothing's going to react to me. I'm going to grab my next tension card and see what happens. Another all clear. Soft light paints your surroundings. On any other night, any other place, you might call the atmosphere relaxing, but here and now, this is a nightmare. That's fantastic. He is going to move 1, 2. Now I'm going to use one of my 2, 3. I'm going to use my lighter to burn this one. And then I think that's all I'm going to do. Then I think I'm going to move back 1 4 to here. I'm going to leave one of those corpses. I think it'll be okay. I'm not exactly sure. We'll find out at the end. She's going to draw a tension card, which is going to, we're getting real close to the end here. Another all clear. I'm not going to read it. I've read plenty of them already. We're going to move into her turn. She's going to grab that for 1, 2, 3, 4. She's going to move over there. We're going to see what this B card is. Hopefully it's like bullets or something. Oh, it's the other lighter. That's awesome. Now she has a lighter. That's fantastic. She's going to be able to bring that hopefully into the next game. Then that's going to be Chris's turn. Chris is going to, or she's going to draw a card, all clear. Chris is going to move 1, 2, 3 to right here. He's going to draw a tension card. We're going to open that door and get the heck out of here. Uh-oh. Deathly rasp. A sinister growl echoes from the walls, dripping with malicious intent. But where is it coming from? Are you under attack? Draw an encounter card. Draw an additional encounter. Okay, we don't have this symbol, but I do have to draw an encounter card. Oh, no. We don't want that. Let's see what card befalls us. I think it's not going to hopefully be too bad. It says here, spawn a corpse. Oh, that's fantastic. I can put a corpse. I'm going to put a corpse. It has to go over here. That's no problem. All right. That's the end of his turn, I believe. I kind of lost track of who was going when. I think that was his turn. So she's going to use the old key now to unlock this door. And hopefully this will be the end. We'll see. We're going to draw our next card that is going to be from this deck. And we'll put everything out there ready to go. So let's draw our card and see what it says here. So we have our locked door here. So it's going to go there. There's a few other things left to maybe get. And here's that safe room we're trying to get to. It's right there. So I'll lay out our tiles and be ready to go. Here's the new tiles ready to go. I'll place her right there. That's her first action, was to unlock and open that door. And now she moves in there, from what I understand, like I said, automatically. She's going to have to deal with this encounter. But other than that, here's our safe room. That's all we have to get to. We could go in here and draw 2 encounter cards in order to get an A item. I don't think that's a good idea. So I'm just going to deal with this encounter card and see how much farther we can get. This one says right here, spawn 2 zombies. Oh, we were getting so close. And then the zombies come. So we're going to put 1 here and 1 right here. That's her first action, was to move in. For her second action, she is just going to, I'm going to mow that guy down with 3 handgun bullets. That'll drop our total down to 9. We just need to get 1 hit to knock this guy on the ground. Oh, we got triple pushback. Look at that. That was not ideal, but I'll push him back 1, 2, and I don't want to push him over here. I can't see him, so I'm going to push him back into that square there. And now at this point, he's going to take a reaction, from what I understand. I apologize. It's not him that's going to be making the reaction. It's going to be him that's going to be doing a move reaction. You don't do it again for the people that you actually attacked. But from where she is, that was her first action to open this door. Second action to fire. She's going to fire again with 3 bullets. Why not? We're going to drain our guns. That's okay. We're going to go down to 6. If I can just at least kill 1 more of these zombies, then maybe we can run past this last one. After all, we have to get to the safe room. Once we do that, we are good. We got ourselves a pushback, and we got the knockdown. I shouldn't say knockdown, the kill shot. But for these guys, it just kind of knocks them down. So we'll push him back over here, and we will put a corpse down. This will make a move reaction towards me because I fired or made an attack, and then it's going to do its normal reaction to move towards me. And at this point, I will draw a tension card. Now, it's hopefully nothing is bad is going to happen. We got it all clear, so we will not have to worry about anything. But this is a different symbol. It's not going to affect those zombies, which is fantastic. And we'll move into Chris's turn, who's right over here. He's going to move 1, 2, 3, and then he's going to attempt to, if he tries to run by, it's just going to get him again. But, oh, barf. All right, he's going to move 1 to here. And I think that's about all he's going to do. I know what he's going to do. For his second action, he's going to use his green herb on Jill. Jill's going to go from there back, from kind of fine to fine. And then he's going to stop for now. This will move 1 up during the reaction, and then I will grab his tension card and see what happens. He has got also an all clear, which is amazing. So at this point, Jill is going to move 1, and then she's going to try to move past for 2. Come on, Jill, let's move past this zombie. Uh-oh, I did not. The zombie hit me again. It's eating me. So I'm going to take 1 damage. And since it took me 1 space to move here, my second was to try to get out of the space. I failed. I have to push this zombie. I'm actually going to push it into Chris's square. Sorry, Chris, it's okay. And then I get to move 3. And then for my 4th reaction, Now I'm going to actually move 4 to right there. That's going to be the end of my turn. Let's grab our tension card and see what happens. Hopefully it doesn't say zombies attack. Uh-oh. Gnawing fear. Bloody hands push the windows and doors. A horde of foes waiting to ambush. If this character leaves their current tile during their next turn, they must draw 2 extra cards in the next tension phase. If this character, so this is going to be on Jill. I'm going to put it right there next to Jill. Hopefully I can remember that. That's the end of her turn. It's going to be Chris's turn. He's going to try to move past that zombie. Before I draw the tension card, I forgot I still actually have to do her reaction. This thing, that moving over here was from me trying to get past it. It still has to do its reaction. Its reaction, if it's in a square and it's in line of sight and range and everything to whatever is there, it's going to make an attack. So I have to actually be attacked by this thing with Chris. So Chris, again, is going to have to try to evade this attack. And this is all still part of Jill's turn. He was able to evade the attack from that zombie. I was able to prevent that enemy from hitting me, and I can then push him. I'm going to push him through this door. And then for my first action with Chris now at this point, I should have drawn my tension card, which is right here. Then it would be Chris's turn. Chris is going to shut the door, and then he's going to go 1 to shut the door, 2, 3, and then he's going to burn this corpse with her on it, but that's okay. She doesn't mind. She doesn't mind the smell of burned flesh that she's standing on. That is going to cost me another one of my kerosene, but that's okay. Those are my 4 actions. He is done, and that's fantastic. We don't have anything that's going to be reacting to us because we shut the door on him, which is awesome. We're going to, Vigor Mortis. What's this? Your enemies lunge forward unpredictably, nails chewing through the air as their teeth snaps with bestial hunger. Enemies on the same tile as the active character immediately perform a reaction. If there are no enemies on the active character's tile, draw 2 tension cards instead. So that's what we have to do, is draw 2 tension cards. So here's our 2 tension cards. I've got 2 of them right here. We'll see what we have, what we get. Our first one's all clear. Come on. Yeah. Okay. All clear. What's our second one? Come on. All clear. All clear. Fantastic. All right. That's the end of his turn. It's go on to Jill's turn. And Jill is just going to move 1, 2, 3, 4 to open this door. Now, she's not going to leave the tile, or she has to abide by this card. This card would make her have to draw 2 extra tension cards on the next tension phase, which is now. I'm going to just draw 1 and discard that card because I'm not leaving the tile. We've got all clear. It's now going to be Chris's turn. He's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. He is also going to draw a tension card. He has got himself an all clear. Jill is going to move into this room, and she's in the safe room. She does not have to draw tension cards, and Chris is also going to move into that room on his turn, and he does not have to draw a tension card because he's in the safe room. And that's it. We were able to complete the scenario, so we'll go to the end of scenario phase so we can find out all the things that are going to happen to our characters now that we're moving into the next scenario. There's 2 different ways you can do this. You can either complete it or you can fail it. We were able to complete it. So if you failed it, though, you would go through all of these steps. And then you do have the option, if you wish to retry the scenario, you can. And that is totally up to you. It does say if you continue to try to replay the scenario, you can remove some of the cards that are making it more difficult, giving you a better chance at completing the scenario. On top of that, if you do fail, you could choose to go somewhere else. Remember that all the pictures I showed you before where you could travel to all these different places? You could try one of these other ones and come back to this one again if you wanted to. That way it doesn't feel like you have to keep trying the same scenario over and over again. But we did not. We were able to successfully complete it. Of course, this was the very first mission, so I was hoping it would be somewhat less challenging until we start going forward. But of course, these are going to get more and more difficult moving forward. And if we go down our checklist here, the first thing we have to do is increase the mansion danger level by 1. So we're going to take our dial and increase it by 1. Now we're on the green hand. So if we have any cards that have that symbol on them, we would be starting to use those now moving forward into our next scenario. On top of that, the next one we have to do is if there are 5 or more corpses on the playing area, shuffle a 1 card into the encounter deck for all 4 1 encounter cards have already been added to the deck. Increase the mansion's danger level by 1. Now remember, we went through and really did a good job on torching all of those bodies corpses, I should say, though we have to have that special rule that, remember, from the very beginning of the game that stated that we're in a quiet area. If the tension deck runs out during the scenario, we shuffle it, the discard pile, and place it back face down to refresh the deck. But additionally, if the scenario is successfully completed, we skip step 2 of the end phase. So even lighting all those corpses on fire really didn't help us too much because we're going to skip that anyway, but I didn't quite know that was going to be the case. Next, if there are 5 or more zombies on the playing area, increase the danger level by 1. If there are 10, increase it by 2. Now, if we look at how many zombies are out there on the board, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, which means we don't have to increase it. Oh no, there's one more 5. Missed it by 1. Okay, going forward though, at least knowing these parameters, we might want to think about that when going forward, because we probably had some more time. I could have gone back and we killed one more zombie in hopes that something would happen. So in this case, we are going to tick our dial up one more tick, so it's up like that. Then we're going to discard any key items in the character's inventories and in the item box. Then each character can use these item box to share or retrieve any number of items. And of course, those item boxes are what we found in that restroom, just like that. The next thing is number 5. We get to reset our handgun ammo dials to 15. So even though we had, I think both of us were probably down to almost 0, if not at 0, we get to put our handgun bullets at least to 15. Now, any other ammo we have, if we had other guns of some kind, we'd be able to get 2 more bullets into at the end of each scenario. On top of that, we can use any ammunition items we have that correspond with certain weapons to give ourselves more ammunition. On top of that, we get to heal each player's character level by 1. Now, of course, Chris did not get hit, but Jill had taken 1 damage, so we're going to put her back all the way to the top. And on top of that, we can use any healing items we want to moving forward. Once that's complete, we can then heal each non-exhausted character in the reserve by 2 levels. We didn't have to worry about that for this mission. We'll shuffle any discarded item A, tension, and encounter cards back into the respective decks, creating a full new set of cards that we can use for our next mission. Then we're going to discard any remaining ink ribbons, which we didn't have for this one. And then after resolving the end phase, the players can choose their next scenario after choosing, but before setting up, players can switch characters, trade items, and use any items in the item box and retrieve them as well. So that is the end of the end of the adventure for this time. We've made it through the first thing, which was the first floor West A scenario. So we have completed first floor West A, which means we would gain access to card number 10, which is right here. But as you can see, card number 10 is locked now until we find that particular item. So we'll have to start looking for that in the mansion in some of these other places, like the second West floor A or the first floor East A and second floor East A, or one of those could potentially have what we're looking for in order to unlock that next part so that we can continue forward in the mansion. But of course, we'll do that in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Jill and Chris get to their safe room. They're nice and safe inside it. And moving forward, we're going to go to the next level. I'm going to let my patrons decide which direction we should go in this particular campaign. I'm excited to try all the different areas we have to go to, and hopefully we can find those missing items so that we can unlock the rest of the mansion. I hope you enjoyed the playthrough. If you did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you know when more Resident Evil comes out. Also, please feel free to leave anything in the comments below. I would love to hear from everyone. On top of that, don't forget, I'm going to try to get all this painted up. I didn't get a chance to do that because sadly I was sick over the last week, and so I didn't get a chance to paint much of this game, which was I was really hoping for. During the week, I usually try to do at least 1 live painting sessions where we can try to paint up some of our characters or enemies that we're going to be using in future games. On top of that, I do live playthroughs with Colin. I said that. I do live playthroughs with Colin. We try to do this about once a week, so please look for those. We have a lot of fun playing games together here on Meet Me at the Table. If you're interested in supporting the channel, the link to my Patreon is also found in the description of this video. Please feel free to join the Patreon. Those that have are located on the screen right here. Thank you so much for your Patreon. It means the world to me. Those that join the Patreon have the ability to help not only decide how the game unravels. Like I said, I'm going to have them decide where we're going to go. Are we going to go to the second floor West A next, or are we going to go to the second floor East A, or the first floor East A? I'll let them decide where we're going to be traveling next inside the mansion. On top of that, they also get the ability to see any of my playthroughs that I do, usually about a day or two ahead of time without commercial interruptions. So that is another perk that the Patreons also get. So there you have it, our first romp into the mansion in Resident Evil. Thank you again so much for watching, and if you're excited to see Chris and Jill continue to try to make it through Resident Evil, the board game, then I need you to meet me at the table.